Hey y'all, yes, I dyed my hair red, and it is very bright, as you can tell. Don't worry, it's not my whole hair, it's just mainly the front, as you can see. If you guys remember my blonde money piece looking hair that I had, I basically dyed that red. I didn't, because I don't fucking know how to do that, but my cousin who knows how to dye hair, she was also the one that dyed my hair blonde, did this for me, yesterday. So, yes, here's the new hair, the new look. Same hairstyle. I don't know if it works. I might have to find different hairstyles with this red, but otherwise, it's still a really cute look. Anyways, does anyone really care? Like, does anyone really care this much about The Conjuring Last Rites? I want to genuinely know. Like, is this really a movie that you guys care about me talking about? Because frankly, I don't know how many of you actually watched this movie, but for those of you who did, I'm curious. Do you really care? Did you honestly care about this movie when you watched it? Okay, because I know for a fact we were all excited for this movie, but I am well aware that these movies have lately not been hitting the way that these movies used to back when the Conjuring universe first started. Um, and also, I feel like that kind of started happening after the Nun movie came out. I feel like ever since that movie, I feel like since then, the Conjuring universe has slowly begun to just die down in quality and in story. And I'm curious, like, how many of you guys were actually like really, really big fans of these movies? I honestly can say that this movie was kind of mid for me. Like, I don't hate it. I have problems with it, but also it's like I have my warm side with it, if that makes sense. Like, I have like a love hate relationship with this movie, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to talk about, okay? So, before we start, I am not, and I repeat, not going to get into the true Smurl family case. That's not what I do here. That's not what I do. Because my last video, I talked about the Ed Gein series on Netflix, and I did not get into the actual Ed Gein story. I don't do that. I just give my opinions on media that I watch. So, yeah, we are going to talk about The Conjuring Last Rites. I know it's been a while, and I know this movie is now available like digitally, so you can rent, buy, whatever. But I know for a fact that this movie was supposed to be the ending to this series, this franchise, whatever you want to call it. It was supposed to be the grand finale for the Conjuring universe. And of course, right before this movie came out, they confirmed that it is not the full end yet. We are actually going to be getting a like prequel, I think movie or TV show or both. I don't fucking know. I think the Conjuring universe is going to get a prequel like movie or something like that, and then I believe the Warrens are going to probably get a series. You know what? I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know how true any of this is. All I know is it's not the actual ending yet. Of course it's not, okay? They do this all the time, guys. Like, how many times have they genuinely been like, this is the final film, and then it's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. They've done that multiple times. I'm not just talking about horror, okay? They do this all the time, okay? So yeah, The Conjuring Last Rites, for it to be the final movie, personally, I can just say my favorite things about it. I kind of liked this like ending, and I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I kind of liked this like ending type of like what's the right word for it? Like, it was such a dedication to the Warrens as like a family, you know what I mean? Because obviously this movie, well, these movies, at least the Conjuring ones, take very much place with the Warren family, and the cases that they've gone through and all that. And with this one, this movie specifically focuses a lot on their daughter Judy, who is now all grown up, and she has a boyfriend now, or I should say fiance, because there's a whole scene. Proposal happens. Wasn't technically supposed to happen yet, but it happens. And so this movie focuses way too much on the Warrens as like a family, and like them kind of going through family situations rather than us focusing on horror and the case that is supposed to be taking place. Like, there, you can kind of start to see where my frustration is going to come in, because it's like, as much as I love the whole thing with the Warrens in the Conjuring universe, okay, I know the real Warrens had some like shady shit. I'm not gonna get into it, of course, but you know, the movie wise, in this movie universe, I love the Warrens, okay. Um, Obviously this was kind of supposed to be like an emotional type of ending for the Warrens, because like I said, this was supposed to be like the last like movie and stuff, so we were supposed to get this as kind of like a tribute, like a dedication special for the Warrens, okay. um and I'm not gonna lie, this movie, even with some of those things, really kind of did make me emotional, you know. And I don't know what it is about horror lately, where there's just so much emotion when it comes to like the thought of like grief, the thought of like family and stuff like that. Like, there's so much that I've taken from a lot of these recent horror movies where it's genuinely like hit so close to home for me and has actually made me emotional. And I'm a little concerned about that, because I'm just like, I fucking love horror. I come to horror for my coziness. Like, horror movies in general are like my safe space. They're my cozy little area. Like, this time in October is genuinely like supposed to be my cozy time, you know? Which is funny, because that's, you know, looking back at every single month of October, it's also the month that I've always been stressed the most. Don't know how that happens, but yes, horror in itself is like my cozy little haven type of shit, you know. And like lately, horror's been making me so emotional. I need that to stop. Okay, I need that to stop, because I refuse. I refuse to sob to a fucking horror movie, okay? I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that, okay? So, yeah. This movie had a lot of emotional things, especially touching with family and the whole thing with Judy and all that. Like I said, I'm not going to compare how true these movies are to the actual Warren families. Like, I don't know much about the Warrens as like actual people or anything like that, so I'm not gonna get into that. I'm only gonna be talking about as far as like the movie Warrens, okay? So for those of you who are gonna be like, oh, like that wasn't real, like that the Warrens weren't really like that didn't actually happen, I know it didn't. Okay, I'm not trying to compare these, I just want to talk about the movie, okay? So in this movie, we do have an opening scene that has Ed and Lorraine Warren at their very first case when they were young. And Lorraine was pregnant with obviously Judy. And they are in this like antique shop. And then like they see this mirror. This mirror, I'm right next to my mirror. But this mirror is very much haunted, okay? And Lorraine does this thing where she like puts her finger on the mirror, and the mirror like breaks, or it like cracks, and this like demon thing inside the mirror makes her go into labor. Scary, right? And basically, when Judy was first born, she died, okay? She actually did not make it, and then I guess through the power of prayer, Judy lived. Judy lived, and now she's all grown up in these movies and all that. And so Judy started to kind of start like developing some of her mom's like, I don't want to say powers, I guess like her gift, you know. She started developing some of her mom's like gift of like seeing spirits and like, you know, all these things. And so now Judy kind of grew up kind of being like her mom, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of what the movie was supposed to do, especially because like this is the first time, besides Annabelle Comes Home, this is the first time where we really focus more on Judy. And also Judy helped out in this case in the movie, of course, help out her parents solve this case, and the whole shebang. She was there, she was present, she was one of them. She's a Warren, ladies and gentlemen. She is a Warren indeed, okay? So yeah, so this movie obviously focused a lot on that. And you know, I just feel like this whole thing with, like, you know, the family drama that went on in this movie and all that, like, I I understand, I do, but at the same time, we come to these movies to really learn about, like, the cases that they, you know, that they go through, like the people they help out, the fucking horror that we're supposed to be seeing. Um, and I'm not joking when I tell you, if we divided these, not these, this movie, if we divided this movie into quarter sections, the actual Smurl family, they don't get helped by Ed and Lorraine until the last quarter of the movie. Which, yeah, you know, that kind of just shows, like, how much this movie is focusing more on the Warrens as a family rather than, like, what about this family that, you know, that they're helping out and stuff. Like, this movie was kind of hyped up to, like, be like, oh, like, the Warrens helped out the Smurl family, this is gonna be on the Smurl case, which was supposed to be like this big, like, they built this hype up for this family that they helped out because it was the Warrens, like, final case. um and I just feel like the movie didn't care to teach us anything about that. Like, I feel like the movie really did not, like, mean to, like, focus on the Smurl family themselves. Like, yes, we had moments throughout the movie where, like, it would focus on them, but, like, I'm talking about, like, when Ed and Lorraine actually went to the Smurl family and, like, actually, like, did what they do, you know. Like, that didn't kick in until, like, the final quarter of the movie, and that really upset me because I was like, I'm watching this movie and this movie's going on forever, like, you know, obviously because these movies are pretty long, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, when the fuck are we gonna get to them helping the Smurl family? Like, when does that come in? Because I really went into this movie, like, with all this hype that was built around this family because it was, like, an intense case. It was Ed and Lorraine Warren's, like, final case and all that. And then it's like, I was getting nothing from them. Like, I just genuinely, like, and I'll be honest, most of the time that the movie would focus here and there on the Smurl family, like, that was the only time that I genuinely felt like this is actually, like, the only little bits of horror we're getting. Some of the parts did actually, like, kind of have that Conjuring like build up to, like, scare you, you know. And I loved that. And that's what I'm saying. I really wish we could have gotten way more of that. Like, I really wish this movie could have just focused on this family, but because it was, like, the final movie for this, you know, franchise and this whole universe and all that, obviously it was gonna be more of, like, you know, let's give this in dedication to the Warrens family and all. um and I feel bad for saying, but I kind of didn't really care a lot. I kind of didn't. I love the Warrens, like I said, I love these movies, you know. But it's just like, I hated the fact that I was so hyped up for this case, and, like, I wanted to know, like, what's going on with this family, like, how intense is this. By the way, if you are wondering why this case was so intense for the Warrens and all that, was because the mirror that they found in the antique store was from their first case. And it was because of that mirror that Judy was born way too early, and basically was born because of a demon. And also, she, you know, she didn't make it at first. So obviously that was something that was very, like, you know, traumatizing, especially for Lorraine, you know. And now the Smurl family, they have this mirror because it was gifted to, I don't know her name, you guys know me and names, but they were gifted to one of the girls. It was like her anyways. It was gifted, I think it was like a, I don't know if it was like a first communion or like something like that. And so she got gifted this mirror, which still had the crack in it, by the way. And she was very much creeped out by it, and she was like, you know what, we should get rid of this fucking mirror. So her and her sister got rid of it in the middle of the night, I think, because the next morning was going to be like trash day or whatever. And then the mirror suddenly reappeared in the attic. Because of course it did. You know, I mean, come on, we've seen the Annabelle movies, okay? This Obviously, throwing it in the trash is not gonna work. Okay. And so basically, um, when Ed and Lorraine go into this case, obviously this mirror brings back a lot of trauma to them, especially because like it's been so many years, and now we're seeing this mirror again. Now we got to deal with this demon again. This was like the first, I think, demon that they had to go through, which literally tried to cause their daughter's life, and now it's like now they're facing this demon again. Very traumatizing indeed, people. So that's pretty much what made it so intense. Also, just want to say there was a scene where, well, I should say there's another scene. There was another scene where Judy practically almost died again. This demon kind of possessed her, and caused her to hang herself. Um, and obviously that was very, very traumatizing for Lorraine, but thankfully nothing happened. Thankfully she was saved. Okay, so Judy is very much okay. And yeah, the whole demon thing with this family, with the Smurl family, the demons that are basically haunting them, I'm gonna try to get this correct. So I believe it was like a couple. It was a farmer and his wife, and let's just say the wife, I believe, cheated on him. So he basically unalived his wife and her mom. I think that was her mom. And so that made him go crazy and made him, basically kill his wife and his mother-in-law. And I believe the farmhouse that they lived in is built on the same grounds that the Smurl family's house is. So that's, I think, the connections and all that. Yeah, I mean, I was obviously on the side of TikTok where everyone, including me, were very much simping for this Axeman, because yeah, no, yeah, hear me out. You know what? Yeah, I do like the X-Men. But that's literally like the movie right there. Also, I feel like this whole thing with like Annabelle had her moments in this, but I feel like she was kind of just brought in here and there to kind of remind us that like Judy has this like hatred towards Annabelle, and also like trauma that she has this like beef going on with Annabelle. So I feel like Annabelle kind of got thrown in just for that, and also I feel like probably for like the marketing and all that, like obviously because like we all know Annabelle, we all know and love Annabelle and stuff. So it's like obviously if they're gonna throw Annabelle on the advertisements for this, it's gonna make people interested, because it's like, oh yeah, Queen is back. But then it's like I didn't really like Annabelle's scenes, especially that scene where Annabelle was in the Smurl family's like attic, I think, where Judy finds her. That's a problem too that I had with this movie. This movie had way too much like unnecessary like CGI in my opinion. Like I get it, a lot of movies do that nowadays, but it's like I feel like this movie, I don't know, like I feel like it kind of made it lazy for me, and that's very unfortunate, because it's like I love watching the Conjuring movies. I love these ongoing stories with like this universe and all that, but it's like I just feel like it kind of went a little far with the CGI. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the Conjuring movies, like my favorite one of all time is The Conjuring 2. I know probably a lot of people probably don't feel that way, but I love The Conjuring 2 out of all of them. And believe me, I did not feel this way for the Crooked Man in that movie, even though that was like a CGI like monster thing. Actually, I don't even know if he was CGI, because I don't know the behind the scenes or anything like that. But you know what I mean? Like this was very much like a very much like fictional type of character that got added to this, to this story and all that. And I just feel like the whole scene with like Annabelle in that attic and how she just started growing and all that, I didn't really like that. I feel like if that scene would have played out differently, I kind of would have liked it. Like if it would have been like how Annabelle like started standing up and she started growing and all that, I think it would have probably looked a lot better in my opinion if she would have grown into the person who was haunting the Annabelle doll from like the first few movies when we were first introduced to Annabelle. I think that would have been cooler, but it straight up grew into this like CGI giant Annabelle doll and kind of jump scared the screen with shoving the doll's face to the screen. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like it. I think it kind of looked cheesy, but in my opinion, you know, CGI with horror, it just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they do it well, sometimes they don't. So yeah. The last thing I will say, and I think it was quite literally one of my favorite parts from the movie, was quite literally the ending. I actually liked the ending wedding scene when Judy gets married, and I like that just because like I think that's like the only thing that I really loved and appreciated as like a kind of like a closure to this series franchise and all that, because like we saw some of the family members and people that we've met in the previous Conjuring movies who attended the wedding and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cute. I genuinely, when I first saw that, like it was such a touching moment for me, because like I don't think a lot of you guys know this, but I got into horror like when I was like I want to say like middle school. I was into like that's when I first got into horror, and my first horror movie quite literally was the first Conjuring movie. So this series really does have a big meaning for me. I love it, obviously, but I just feel like the whole thing with this being like the final movie, I mean, for starters, the movie didn't even come out and we already got confirmed that it's not going to be the last thing that, you know, that's going to be released for this series and all that stuff. So it's like we are for sure getting more. We're for sure getting more, even though we were told this is it, you know. And also I think the only thing that I also had a big problem with was the fact that we did focus more on the Warrens as like, you know, being a family rather than like them helping out a family who needed their help and all that. That's kind of the only things I really had a problem with. But other than that, the movie's it's decent. You know, I'm not gonna say that this movie was bad because I don't think it was bad. There's definitely been better. There have definitely been better ones. I would definitely put this somewhere like towards like middle to bottom of my list of the Conjuring universe. If you guys would want me to rank them, let me know, because I kind of want to. But you know, that's just my thoughts and opinions on this movie and all that. If you guys want me to review any other movie that came out recently, or you know, more recent movies, like movies that just barely are coming out, you guys can let me know in the comments. I'm slowly trying to work on getting through the movies that I've seen recently, because there have just been a few, and also because like I just haven't done movie reviews in a while. So like, you know, I'm trying to get through them as best as I could before the end of the year, because I do want to end the year by ranking all the horror movies that I saw this year, because there were some good ones and some bad ones. So I really want to rank them. But you guys can leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a comment if you guys want me to review any other specific movies or TV shows. I don't really watch a lot of shows, but like, you know, I did watch the Ed Gein one, like I said in the beginning. So my review for the Ed Gein series is also on my channel. So if you guys want to watch that, you guys definitely can. I am literally trying my best to do a video of me kind of reviewing some of my books, because I've read a couple horror books and I want to talk about them, and I've also read some non-horror ones as well. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can let me know in the comments, okay? But I'm gonna go for now, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye. Oh my god, I am such a bad influencer. I also forgot, please don't forget to check out in the link in the description, I do have my podcast. If you guys want to listen to my podcast, you guys can show it support, you guys can share it, listen to it either when you're cooking, cleaning the house, out for a drive, the gym, studying, whatever. You guys can listen to it whenever you guys want, and also make sure to share it, okay? So that is it, and I'm out.